Hello, it's your favorite sports Unc here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community on YouTube. Remember, Nightcap doesn't happen without you. So please subscribe or you're going to make Ocho cry. Jim, you covered the sport of boxing 40 years. Am I being conservative? 50.
1977. What is that? 48 years. Oh, my
48
God.
years.
I love it.
My first interview was Muhammad Ali. I was a videotape editor.
What was that like? I've watched the clips. He was so savvy with his wordplay. What was that like in person?
So it opened all the doors for all of this for me.
Yes.
I was a videotape editor. They were converting from film to videotape. Now we have all this digital, so people don't even know what film was. Okay. And I was at the ABC bureau in Denver, and all the guys in the union who were with the film, they took the buyout. They took the union buyout, so they hired a bunch of young people.
Yes, sir.
So I was 17 years old.
Wow.
So I was in my booth at 7 a.m. editing the Broncos with Red Miller getting ready for the draft. And Ali was coming to town. He was going to fight Leon Spinks, and then he was going to fight Lyle Alzado in an exhibition. Okay, at Mile High Stadium, their stadium back at the time. So they came running at 7. Ali's 2.5 hours early. You know something about sports? Go interview him. Well, I was dressed like this. No sport going. I had a T-shirt, ran out to Stapleton International Airport, interviewed Ali. He gave me 45 minutes.
Wow.
Came back. First question I asked him, he said, "You doing this interview? You don't even shave." Well, the whole entourage was there. Bundini and everybody was there, and everybody started to laugh, so it relaxed me. He started to laugh. After the fourth question, he gave me the nicest compliment I ever had. He said, "You sound like the local Howard Cosell." So anyway, I took it back. Make a long story short, I was editing myself out. They weren't going to put me on ABC. They were going to put me on. So the head of the bureau walked in there. His name was Roger Ogden. He didn't even know my name. He said, "I want to see this Ali tape." He stayed in there for an hour and a half. An hour and a half. He got up and he said, "You and this videotape are going on the air. It's barely adequate." So when I got into the Boxing Hall of Fame several years ago and the Basketball Hall of Fame, I said somehow barely adequate ended up here.
That's dope. That's dope.
But what happened was, so Ali did the interview, and back in those days, ABC was connected underground by the fiber optics to all the stations. There was a man named Frank Reynolds who was World News Tonight before Peter Jennings and Ted Koppel. David Muir does it now, but he sat in that chair. He saw this go across on ABC DEF. DEF was daily electronic feed, so they put it on the ABC DEF. He saw it, he took it down, he put it on World News Tonight. Ali having a good time with a 17-year-old kid.
Oh, that's dope.
And
that's dope.
Ali saw it in Houston on the next stop of his press tour, and he saw what a good time. So then Ali had me come and interview him before and after all the rest of his fights. And it opened all the doors.
That's how you got the relationship with Muhammad.
It opened all the doors everywhere. And then he let me do his last interview that he ever did in public on ESPN. We took Mary Lou Retton, who revolutionized sports for the women. Ray Leonard, who patterned his whole life after Ali. Carl Lewis, who is still the most decorated track and field Olympian with 9 gold medals. And we went the night before Michael Phelps. We went up to Stanford. We went the night before Michael Phelps left for the Greece Olympics in 2004. He'd never won a medal. We bet on him. And we did an interview, the 5 of us, America's greatest living Olympians. And at the end of it, Ali's last words, we had a torch flown in from Athens, just like Ali lit the torch in '96 in Atlanta. We had the torch in. Ali got up out of his chair, handed the torch to Michael Phelps. He said, "I'm the greatest, you're the latest, it's up to you, go win all those medals."
That's dope.
That was, if I'm not mistaken, that was Phelps' first Olympics.
His first Olympics was Sydney.
Okay,
He finished 5th. He didn't win any medals. And then he went ahead and won all those medals, obviously, in Athens. And Beijing is the record.
And
then he kept going to London and then Rio. Finished up.
As long as you've been doing boxing, has there ever been a boxer that has been more media savvy, more creative, more charismatic as Ali? Have you seen anything even close?
There hasn't been a person on the planet, Ocho, not a person on the planet like this. This was the most, first of all, he was so accomplished. And he was excellent, okay? So then he had that ability to connect with everybody.
He did.
And it didn't matter whether it was the chairman of the board or the janitor. He had time for everybody. I've never saw Muhammad in a hurry. And I got to go all over with him. And he looked you in the eye, and he cared. He cared. It wasn't a one-way exchange. And he had self-awareness, so he knew what he meant when he was talking to you. And it meant something to him. So, no, him and Nelson Mandela, the most remarkable people I've ever met and been around.
When you
And
mentioned-
obviously, I didn't know President Mandela, but I got to interview him. But Muhammad Ali, being around him was just total joy. And Lonnie, I mean, just everything about him.
Jim, you mentioned that the accomplishments, and he was a great amateur, and then he goes to in 60 in Rome. He wins the gold medal. And then was that 63 that he beat Sonny Liston? What year was that he beat Sonny?
Yes, well, when he shocked the world, and then he had the rematch, 64.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so when you think about...
Lewiston, Maine was the
and he
second
did
one, Miami the first. Yeah.
Lewiston, Maine, yes.
Yeah.
When he would literally tell you what he was going to do.
Yeah.
He would go do it. People like, how? He's so... And it turned some people off because we like athletes humble. He was far from that.
Far from it.
Well, he had a
He was
lot.
humble
He had
in
a
the
lot of detractors, and
Yes.
you know his stance against the Vietnam
War,
War.
yes.
He wasn't. He was vindicated by the Supreme Court.
Correct.
But he wasn't vindicated by the public until they found out all the information later. So the stand that he took was very, very unpopular.
Yes.
In fact, we have the Hall of Excellence, and Shannon, thank you so much for coming. Tom Brady
Yeah.
and I opened a museum here in the
Okay.
Fontainebleau Hotel.
Yeah.
And we have his gloves from George Savaglio. And the reason that those gloves are so important, he wasn't given a license to fight in America. He had to go to Canada to fight George Savaglio, and he called it his toughest fight ever, and he won the fight. But Ali stood up. He had a social conscience. He stood up for Black America. He stood up for all of America. And he stood up for those who couldn't speak. And he had a voice, and he was braggadocious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, now we don't even think about it with
Yes.
social media. I mean, everybody's saying everything all the time, but his words meant something. All these other words right now, I don't want to say they're meaningless because we can't put people's words into that category.
Right.
But they don't have the same effect as it had back then.
Correct.
The funny thing back then is Ali did it, and Jim, he did it at a time when it was frowned upon, where you're not supposed to have that kind of freedom, where you're not supposed to have that kind of platform, let alone power or voice. That's so anytime Ali said something, and he had such a way with words. He had such a way with words and being able to put things together, and it was, I don't even know how to put it into words because I haven't seen anything like it. That's why I asked you the question. He was so good at what he did, and he was self-aware. That's the only thing I can think. That's the only other word I can think of. He was so self-aware.
You know
But
what
he
you can't
did smack
replace?
dab in the 60s. That's the smack dab in the heart of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
Yep. But you know what else? Is, and you guys know this.
Yes.
What's the one thing you can't replace in life? And that's likability.
Yeah.
Okay? When you were in front of him, you couldn't help but like him.
Yeah.
You may have hated everything he stood for.
Yeah.
Okay? But when you were with him, you were smiling, you were laughing, you were educated, you were all those things, entertained, inspired, everything that you want. So you couldn't help but have respect.
Right.
Because you had to pay attention and when you know, you're likable. Okay? You're likable. I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't put your finger on why.
Why?
Either you are or you
you
aren't.
are,
If
yeah.
you're not, you're phony.
Yes.
Okay? That doesn't mean everybody in life who's not, you know. But I mean, there's that it factor or whatever it is. You know, you smile.
Yes.
There's Shannon.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not comparing him to Ali, but I'm just saying likability
Ability is very important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's probably the most important thing. You know when you're great, when you're more popular in death than you ever were in life. You look at Ali, you look at Dr. King, you look at Malcolm X, you look at Abe Lincoln, you look at some of these great figures, and they were not, at the time they were living, they were never what they became in death.
It's an interesting concept. You know, Nelson Mandela got to go over and spend time with him and interview him. And you know, he was a boxer. Did you know that?
No,
I did not know that.
You know, yes. And you know why they
didn't know
put
that.
him in the quarry? They wanted to ruin his vocations. They wanted to wreck his hands, so they put him in the quarry. But he was a big fight fan, and anyway, he had a fight over there in South Africa. Anyway, got to spend time with him. The great Larry King introduced me to him and took me to meet him and got to spend. And, you know, he said that Maya Angelou wrote something for his speech on reconciliation, which is the most simplistically brilliant thing I'd ever heard. He said, people will forget what you say and people will forget what you do, but no one will ever forget the way you make them feel. When you were with Ali, you felt better about you and better about him. Think about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
How many people you walk away from in life today that when you leave them, you say, boy, that sure feels good.
Yeah. Jim, this fight, you've been around some great fights. I mean, Sugar Ray and Marvin Hagler and the Tyson era when there's nothing like a heavyweight fight. Do you notice the buzz with Canelo Crawford? Is this what boxing kind of needed?
It needed it bad. The institution needs this. The best fighting the best. Okay, yes, they're not both at the same weight, and Bud's taking a risk coming up.
A huge risk coming up.
And, he's also getting well compensated, and he feels that the risk is worth the reward, and
Right.
the reward will be great if he can pull this off. But it needs this. Yes, we need the best fighting the best, and we don't have that so often. Promoters and all these folks who get involved in this, they've been provincial for whatever the reason. And they've stayed true to their guys who they promote on their networks where they have licensing deals. This has crossed all of these lines. It's on Netflix. The whole world can tune this in.
Yes.
The millions upon millions here. And it's going to be over at Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play.
Yeah.
In an NFL stadium, it's going to be the biggest crowd in the history of Nevada to watch a fight. And look who's fought here. Ali's fought here. Holmes has fought here. Hagler's fought here. Hearns, Mayweather, Pacquiao, Tyson, the great Mike Tyson. I mean, so when you look at what this is, yes, the institution needs this. The institution has been suffering. And now you've got Dana White and Turkey, and they're putting together this fight. And by doing this, it's bringing people to see the best. We can't assess what the fight is afterward. We can't say it's one of the great fights of all time until we see it.
Exactly.
So we don't know that. I mean,
Right.
I did a fight over here at Mandalay Bay. Greatest fight I ever saw, Castillo Corrales.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God,
There were
yes.
5,100 people there.
Right.
And they play that back now on YouTube and all over when we were back at Showtime. It's the greatest fight ever.
Right.
And you go
Corrales
watch
had no
that.
business with it.
Nobody thought that before. So we can't say what this is going to be until,
Till it happens.
Till
Right.
Saturday night at midnight.
So do you think the resurgence of the sport of boxing is happening now because of Turkey's interest in the sport now and being able to make some of the great fights that myself, a huge boxing fan, do you think him being interested in boxing has allowed now boxers wanting to take that chance, and most of them not taking a chance because they don't want that zero? Nobody wants to lose.
It's certainly helped a lot. But the zero doesn't define you. How many games did the Philadelphia Eagles lose last year?
Right.
How many? I don't know. What was it, 4 or 5?
Yeah.
I can't
2 or
remember.
3.
We can't even remember.
Right.
Okay? This isn't, boxing should not have been. Floyd ruined this sport. Floyd Mayweather ruined this sport. I don't mean that personally.
No, he didn't.
I love him personally, and I love his accomplishments and his achievements, and he was great to me. He was great to Showtime, and I'm friends with him to this day, and I admire and respect him. But he ruined the sport because the only thing that mattered was the zero.
Yes.
Okay, and so what did that do to all of these other fighters?
Everyone else worried about the zero.
But we do that too, though. Because if a guy loses a fight, we throw him to the wayside now, Jim.
Well, it's not the NCAA tournament. It shouldn't be that.
I know.
Look at when Duran and Hagler and Hearns and Leonard and all these guys fighting each other all the time.
But we didn't criticize them when they lost.
Yeah.
When Sugar Ray lost to Duran, we didn't criticize it. When Hearns lost to Leonard, we didn't criticize it. When Hagler lost, we didn't criticize it. These guys lose now. If Shakur Stevenson lose now, we're going to criticize him. If Tank Davis
why are you doing that?
Because I've been following the fight.
Right.
I'm old enough to remember the 80s when they had the 4 horsemen and they fought. The best fought the best.
Yeah.
It wasn't no ducking and dodging. In the 70s, the heavyweight, Norton fought. Foreman fought.
We didn't get mad at Frazier when Foreman beat him?
No, 3 times.
Right.
Foreman fought Ali 3 times. But
No,
Foreman
Frazier
almost
fought
killed
Ali
Frazier.
3 times.
Yes.
Foreman and
he
Frazier
did.
fought once.
That was enough.
Yes. Yeah, he damn near went through the rope. That was it.
But
I'm saying, but we didn't diminish what Joe had accomplished or what he could do in the future.
No, we
it
did
was
not.
a setback.
But why did we do that, Jim? Jim, you've been around this thing for 5 decades.
I'm not sure where all that turned, and I'm not sure why. I can't pinpoint it, and I don't really mean to blame Floyd, but Floyd...
No. Floyd is great. Floyd fought. They couldn't beat him.
Think about where the zeros have only mattered in a career. Think about that. 16, whatever, 14-0, then 17-0, Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins.
Yes.
Okay, so then that defined their lives.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Not that he was the greatest coach in the history with 347 wins.
Right.
It was the undefeated season.
In which he's known for.
So maybe it was 72.
Bobby Knight, he's the last one, 1976, when they went undefeated.
With the Hoosiers.
But you know who never defined, I don't want to interrupt you, go ahead.
No, you good. No.
You know who never defined themselves by winning? Or never mentioned the word win once? Never once mentioned the word win to his team. John Wooden.
Wow.
And he won, what do you have, 3 undefeated seasons and 10 national championships, and Bill Walton and Kareem and all these guys, Jamal Wilkes.
You know, I think the difference is the era of boxing that you're talking, the era of boxing that you started out. You think about the era of boxing that we're in now. I think fighters are scared to take the chances because it ruins being the A side. Having a loss or one or maybe two or maybe three, it ruins your purse, what you're able to command. So I think it's the financial reasons on why they don't want to take those chances. And I think, again, with Turkey coming into the game now, Dana White being a part, and all the different sponsors and advertisers, I think more boxers are going to be willing to take chances against opponents that are just as skilled, that are not as flawed, and you're not fighting inferior opponents anymore, and you're giving the people, the fans, fights we really want to see. I really want to see Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez.
Absolutely.
I really want to see that.
Well, here's what it is. It needs a model that can work. The other model hasn't worked. If the other model worked, we'd still be on Showtime. HBO would still be in the game. ESPN wouldn't have gotten out of Top Rank.
Right.
We wouldn't have what we have. And so it needs a drastic shift to get to a place where we can see it. And what happens when this doesn't work, we don't have people coming up in the pipeline.
Right.
Because they can't get exposed. Right. So if you don't know any of these people fighting, why would you go buy a ticket?
Yeah, it's true.
So it needs this, and so it's at the right time, and and by the way, there's been disruption in everything. Look at the disruption in television and streaming and podcasts and radio.
Everything's kind of moving digitally.
Just look at how everything has changed. So boxing has to go with it.
Yes.
And it hasn't. And now the time may be right. I hope so. Speaking
of great fight, speaking of boxing, there's a great fight coming up that I want to make sure that you're there to announce. Unc, I'm fighting on behalf of us, and I want to know your thoughts on Jim. I want to fight Andre Ward. 10 rounds, 3-minute rounds. What do you think is going to happen? Wait, before you say anything.
Did you get to wear your helmet?
No. I'm not wearing my helmet, but I'm going to beat his ass.
Why? What's the problem here?
He has a punchable face.
Oh, my goodness.
So I just want to know how you think that fight's going to turn out. 6 months of training. We're going to fight here in Vegas.
It's a very famous saying.
Yeah.
I'm on your show, so I want to be a good guest. You don't play boxing.
No, you don't.
You can't play boxing.
Absolutely
you can play
not.
football.
Yeah,
you can play baseball.
Yeah.
You don't play boxing.
No, you don't. And
So,
I understand
think
that.
this one through.
Yeah.
I did. I told.
Jim, let me ask you this. If Crawford were to pull this off, where would you rank this as far as upsets in the world of boxing?
Wow, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Well, it's not Buster Douglas because the man's 41-0. Okay,
Correct.
so it's not Buster Douglas against Mike Tyson, so it doesn't go up into
Who
that.
we thought was unbeatable.
It's not Rocky Balboa. Okay, some guy we never heard of. We know Bud Crawford and we know he's great.
Right.
Okay, perhaps it's Holyfield over Tyson.
Wow.
Perhaps it's Holyfield over Tyson, the first fight.
Yes.
Not the ear biting.
Yes.
Right.
Because I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No.
And Holyfield was an accomplished fighter who'd done great.
Yes.
Cruiserweight champion
Yep.
and so forth, and so that might be a good comparison. What do you think of that
Roy
one?
Ruiz? Roy moving up from 68 to, and he ended up weighing at 193, gained 25 pounds. He took the heavyweight title from John Ruiz. I'm trying to think of guys that have moved up.
But Ruiz wasn't in the Canelo.
Not even
echelon.
close. What you think of? Yeah,
right. He won. Who'd he beat?
Right.
Deontay.
Yeah,
or whoever he had beaten. Joshua.
Yeah,
beat Joshua.
What about Spinks over Ali?
Well, that was huge. That was big.
I'm old enough to remember that.
Again, that was a guy who'd had very little fights.
Yes.
And he was an Olympic champion, and so there was hope for him.
Yes.
And but Bud Crawford is huge.
Bud is really accomplished.
So he's not in the Leon Spinks category.
No.
I mean, moving up in weight. It's tough, and Canelo found that out against Bivol.
Yes.
Look, he thought he was going to pick a fight that he was going to win.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, and the guy was bigger and stronger, and he had a better night.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's a hard. But I kind of like Holyfield over Tyson because Holyfield was accomplished.
Right.
Yeah.
Handicap this. What do you think? You think it goes the distance? You think somebody ends it?
Well, nobody's gone down, so I don't know what would cause. I don't see how Bud Crawford can hurt Canelo.
Wow.
I just don't see it. He might outbox him, and he might outpoint him, and he might do all of those things, but it's hard to see Canelo going down to Bud Crawford, a smaller guy.
Right.
Now, the interesting thing about this is Bud's 3 years older, but he's only fought half as many rounds. So Canelo has so much more experience, but he's also been punished more.
Yes.
He's taken on. And if you look back over the past 7 years, Canelo's, who's he beat? But then you can look at Bud and you could say, who's he fought? He fought Errol Spence after he flipped his car 19 times.
Right.
And he was damaged.
Yeah.
And this isn't to take away, because they're only fighting the people who are in front of them.
you.
Right. And so that
we love to see, we rewind the hands of time and put a prime Sugar Ray, a prime Hearns and all those Duran, but that ain't happening. You got to fight who's in your era. And the era of fighters that we had in the 80s in that division, in that class, it's just not there anymore.
See, we let the other one bake too long. Floyd against Pacquiao. That was the last big fight that we had, really, in Las Vegas. You could say, look, Wilder and Fury. I don't know how Deontay Wilder, he hit that guy. I still don't know how Fury got up. That was Frankenstein.
He hit him flush.
But that guy got up somehow. I mean, Jack Reese helped. Jack Reese literally counted to 23. It was supposed to be a 10 count. I mean, come on. Who are you? Who am I? Where are we? Where does your dad?
The longest count?
What car does your dad drive? I mean, what are you asking all these questions? You walk in and back. Either you can get up at 10 or you can't. Either you can fight or you can't. So Jack Reese, that was terrible. Jack Reese did a terrible job that night. But accomplished official, accomplished referee. But that was bad. But you could argue that was, there was some compelling to that. But we really haven't had anything quite since Pacquiao and Mayweather. And unfortunately, that it just took too long. And then Pacquiao had a bad shoulder, and Floyd won the fight.
Is that why we're getting all these exhibitions now? Because boxing is missing, and we want those guys to be able to fight again. And so we're willing to pay, we're willing to watch them way past their prime. A 60-year-old Mike Tyson against a 40-plus-year-old Floyd Mayweather. Or we get a Jake Paul fighting a Tank Davis. Is that why we're seeing what we're seeing now, Jim?
I'm always for you guys. I'm always for the athlete.
Yeah.
So I don't get into all of that. I mean, Jake Paul has brought people to the television set that wouldn't normally come.
Correct.
Now he's becoming a better boxer, I guess.
Yes.
I did his first fight when Tyson fought Roy Jones during COVID. That was, and Mike put on a great performance against Roy Jones, and that was a terrific exhibition for a guy. I think he was 55 at the time, Mike. And so. That was cool, and then Jake came on the scene that night. He knocked out Nate Robinson. Yeah, and he's tried to enhance his growth, but he's fighting a bunch of people that aren't really in the genre of he's fighting MMA guys and UFC guys and so on and so forth. And now his next fight is against Tank. I mean, there's 70 pounds. I mean.
Yes.
Georgia didn't even know if they're going to license it. I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with all of this. So I guess it's good that he brings folks that he wouldn't bring so they get exposed to boxing. But on the other hand, this is what the game is. The guys who've dedicated themselves
their lives
to the sport. And again, I'm not against anybody doing anything for their livelihood. So if Mike wants to fight, I hope he doesn't get hurt.
And people are going to pay to watch it, and you're going to get paid to do it.
I didn't know this, but Jake Paul had tremendous humanity. He could have hurt Mike, and he backed off.
Yeah,
he could have hurt him, and he had the decency and humanity not to.
Yeah.
All right.
So you heard it here first.
What?
Jim said it's okay to beat up Andre Ward.
Okay.
You need the money. You need to fight. We're going to be here to support you. You need to prove something. Go ahead, prove it.
Yeah.
But guess what? They gave you a helmet for a reason.
Jim, thanks for joining us, man. Appreciate it, Jim.
Thank you for having me on. Always good to be with you.
Broadcaster, thank you so much for joining us, Jim.
Thank you.